I don't think they're overstated. Obviously, it's a concern, but I think the bottom line is what we're not getting, what we're getting. So we need to see, okay, what does it cost us for what we are getting? In any medium, whether that be TV or print or radio, out of home even especially, for a board that's up for a month, not everybody that drives that board is going to see it. There's a huge amount of waste. On TV, probably 40% of eyeballs are not tuned to the commercial, so that's waste. So waste exists across all categories. Now, with online, obviously it's a different issue, it's fraud. So obviously everything needs to be done to fight that. And I think that what's happening with cryptocurrencies is going to help a long way. With the blockchain technology, there will be a verification system that will be bulletproof. But that's probably 3 to 5 years away. I know there's companies in the US working on that right now. So that I think will make the ecosystem a lot safer. In the interim, bottom line, you look at it, okay, we bought 1 million impressions, it cost us $6. 30% of them were wasted for fraud or whatever reason below the fold. Is it still cost efficient to deliver? That is the CPM still efficient? And if it is, move forward. We're not here to, bottom line is what's it going to cost a client for a good impression and what's the ROI on it? And obviously we got to deal with the fraud issue. But as I mentioned, waste occurs across all media. You buy a magazine, you're not going to get to the back page perhaps, or may not even pick it up this month. So how do you account for that? It's not fraud, but guess what? Wasted impressions. So my thought is, with the technologies that are coming on board, hopefully stolen from the Bitcoin technologies, that will make publishers, ad techs, and brands offer them a lot safer ecosystem to advertise in, and still deliver the ROI that we expect from it. Innovation is always important, and we have a tendency as people, marketers, advertisers, as humanity, to always think it's harder today than it was in the past. If you sit back in an office 10 years ago, I would guarantee you that there's no one that said, hey, the job's easy. It's always been hard. I mean, I remember there was a time, just to get a piece of creative approval, you had to get somebody physically get in a cab and bring it to the client. So today you just email it, and in 3 seconds you get approval. Now, the other thing is, as you might appreciate, the other thing that's happening is one time there was a talk about integration, then there was a talk about content, and it's still going on today. But the conversation today is about data, and everybody forgets one lousy thing. And this is coming from a media guy. The idea, the creative process gets kind of lost, because with everything you're putting out online, we have juniors putting out content. We don't have the massive creative genius spearheading everything that gets put out. Everybody's a content producer. So a lot of brands are putting out stuff that, in my opinion, is mediocre. And there's not a lot at present that can be done about it. But I think we've forgotten that the most important part is not so much how many times you say things, but how you say it. Any good salesman will tell you that. You could go up to 1,000 people and say, you want to buy a vacuum cleaner? Want to buy a vacuum cleaner? Or you can say, I got the best possible vacuum cleaner you can imagine. So I think everybody's so concerned with where and how many times they're saying it, they forget about what they're saying and how they're saying it. It's almost like going out in a t-shirt to your job interview when you're approaching your customers. Is it harder today? I mean, we like to think so, just like the music was always better when you were younger. But I think we've got a lot more tools today. We make smarter decisions. We have a lot more at our disposal, and we're perhaps working a bit harder. But that's because the global economy is changing, and we're competing not just locally. But I would venture to guess that it's always been hard. The most obvious one is, of course, as you might appreciate, creative ideas with the assets that they do have at hand, whether that be for a new business pitch, or an existing client, or a media plan, or a project. We obviously, in media, always look for better ideas, that's obvious. One of the things that I would love to see, especially when you're dealing with larger media firms, is the elimination of the segmentation and the silos. And that sounds like rubbish, but what I mean by that is, for example, let's look at $1, it should be $1. So if I spend $1 with, whether it be Chorus, Rogers, or Bell, and that dollar gets broken up amongst all the different channels that are available, if I've got a problem on silo number 1, can I fix it by putting dollars in silo number 2 as long as the dollar stays the dollar? And we've had some problems with that because, oh, this is over here, this is 50 cents, it's over there, but overall you're getting $1.50. So one of the problems we have run into is because right now, obviously, it's not just about a TV buy, a radio buy, it's you're using all channels. When an issue arises on one channel, it gets cut off there and it hampers our efforts on others. So if you look at it holistically and you say, okay, well, everybody's getting a piece of the pie, but for this instance, we don't care where that dollar is going, as long as we get the dollar and it's the true value of the dollar, then that would be great for us.